Hello everyone, this is Daniel, aka B-Belt Dan, and welcome back to what will hopefully be the final video of me doing this heavy metal mask build. And if you're wondering why I'm calling it the heavy metal mask build, that's a little hint as to why I am making this. So, to pick up from the last episode, in the last one, I determined that the mask I made up to that point may be a little bit too small. I know it fits some of my family members, but after looking at it and sending a paper replica of the mask via email to the customer and him tried it on, we determined that maybe it might be a bit too small. So I've decided to go ahead and nix that and start all over again and resculpt a brand new mask, this time using more of the dimensions of my head, and the customer actually gave me some more dimensions of his head as well. And so using that as the template, created it again. So I resculpted a new one, poured in, made a new mold, poured in some more liquid latex, and repainted it. So now we're at this point to where we can continue on and hopefully finish the build. But before we go on to that, I want to go ahead and take this time to show y'all where we are at right now. So I have here 4 different masks detailing 4 different stages of where we are at or where I've been. Starting off with this first stage, I can't remember if I showed it to you, but I'm going to show it to you now. This right here was the very first pull that I've done from the mold. Now this is using standard latex, but I wanted to show this to y'all because one, I also decided to do this to kind of test the paint job, to show it to the customer, but to also show y'all that yes, just like with my Cinnabite inspired mask, you can use regular liquid latex. And just like with the other one, as you'll see, it doesn't seem to really want to fit my head. I could get it to stretch just a little bit to kind of barely fit, but I don't think that's what we need. But this does indeed work. So if all you have is typical store-bought latex, liquid latex, should work fine. But we went from there to where I got some specific mask making latex, and we came up with this mask right here. Now, as you'll probably notice, it's a lot thicker, it's a lot sturdier, it's a lot, I'm not going to say stretchier. The other stuff actually seems to be a bit stretchier. It just feels more durable than a regular latex. And just like I showed y'all, this one right here doesn't seem to want to fit. It takes a little bit more work to try to stretch it to get it to fit over my face, and that's where I started feeling a little bit uncomfortable that maybe it might be too small. But I got very far on this one to where I got it painted. Y'all saw me do this, and as much as I liked the way this turned out, we had to nix it all over again, and I had to redo another one. So from there, I created a brand new sculpt. Once again, using the dimensions on my face, made another mold, and poured, and I got this one right here. Now, some of y'all might be looking at it thinking, well, okay, what is the problem with this one? The problem is that there were a lot of imperfections, I guess, during the process of me pouring in the liquid latex and the curing, where there were a lot of bubbles that just popped, just showed up everywhere. I do know that if you used a vacuum chamber, that would actually improve the process, but I don't have one. So I tried to fix it. I don't know if y'all could probably see, but like if you look right there on the nose, I tried fixing it by pouring in more liquid latex. I tried doing a variety of different things, sanding down, but it was making the mask look far worse. And plus also, as I was looking at it, I was noticing that there were a lot of little errors. I don't know if it happened during the mold making process, not the casting, but the mold making process, but there were some errors, some details were lost, some little areas were not, some details were not well defined. So I decided to go ahead and scrap this mask and try again. But before I did that, I actually went into the plaster and used some tools, and I carved out some features to try to make them look a little bit more prominent. I tried to patch in some areas where I noticed that there were some divots or some holes or things, try to smooth it all out. And which gave me the last one, which I'll show you all here in a minute. But yeah, this one right here fits much better. It sits on the face. I can able to move my mouth and talk. For the most part, I mean, it's still a little bit too small on me, but I believe that my head's much longer than the customer's head, so this should still work. But even on my head, I don't think I would have a problem wearing this around once it's fitted in. So, yeah. So from there, we now have this right here. This here is now the finished mask that the customer that will be getting. It is fully painted. As you can, I mean, the paint job I think turned out real well. In the end, I think this one actually overall turned out much better. There's a couple of things I would have done differently on it, but the customer seems to really like it. So I'm going to go ahead and continue moving on. So what do I have left to do? Well, now we have the mask, but how are we going to fix that mask on to the person's face? And that's what we're going to do now. So I have some ideas on how we're going to do it, and I'm going to use leather. I got some of these black leather scraps that I got at a hobby store. I feel like that should work out perfectly well. I think it's just the right amount of thickness for what we need. So we're going to use this, but before I start wasting this, I want to make a paper template. So what I did is I took some scraps of paper and I slowly started attaching them to the mask using this duct tape and then bending it around to the back of my head, as we can see here, until where I get, to where I get the kind of the orientation of the straps that we are aiming for. So once I did that, I used this to kind of, contour the shape a little better, make it look a lot smoother, a lot cleaner, get the angles down right, the symmetry down right. So I now have at least this paper template right here. This is the piece that goes around to the back of the head. And the straps are going to be coming out of this and attaching to the mask using some rivets. And so that's the method we're going to do. Now, to make it to where it's adjustable, because I have the idea of the customer size head, but still, once it gets there, I'm pretty sure that the customer may want to adjust it and maybe even take it on and off. So I've got a couple of ideas on how to do that. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and take these patterns and transfer it to the leather and get that cut out. So I'll be right back. So before I continue, I wanted to kind of show you an initial idea of what I have planned here. I have the initial back piece of the straps already cut out, and as you could probably tell, that I went ahead and separated them a little bit more. Now the reason about why I am doing this with this pieces of Velcro is, once again, I don't really know exactly how big the exact measurements are. So there's going to need to be some adjustments on the customer's behalf, but to make it easy not only for him to adjust it to where it fits his head, but also easy for it to take on and off without hopefully having to undo the straps each time, is I'm going to go ahead and sew in these Velcro strips here. So therefore this can stretch on and off the head like that. So not only will that help give him a snug fit with the mask, but he should be able to hopefully, take it, pull it off, and reattach it, put it back on with ease. Okay, so I have this bit of hardware here. These are the slide buckles. That's going to be the hardware that's going to be attached, and there's going to be a strap that will be riveted in using these rivets here onto the actual mask itself. So therefore, the customer can insert in the buckle, make the adjustments that he needs to get it to where it's close to fit, and then these pieces of elastic here should keep it snug, but at the same time also allow him to be able to take it on and off without having to redo these buckles all the time. I don't know how often the customer is going to be wanting to take the mask on and off, on and off, on and off, but I want to try to make it to where it is easier for him, and he doesn't have to necessarily fiddle around. So I'm going to go ahead and now try to sew all of these pieces together, all these buckles, and then I still need to cut out the straps that's going to go to the head. I will come in to show me riveting those straps into the mask, and past that point it should be done. So this might actually be a very short episode, so let me go ahead and get to it. Okay, so this part I moved outside. The weather was kind of nice, and I am now taking these straps here that I've already kind of measured out and cut, and I'm attaching them to the mask itself. And I'm using these rivets here for to fasten them, and I've already done the two top ones, as we can see here. So now I'm going to go ahead and do these other two bottom ones right here. So I have this little hole punch tool that I'm using, and my wife's hammer. That is my wife's. And I'm just going to line this up like so and flip it over. And on this one, see the top one, I went ahead and put 3. On these bottom ones here, I'm going to put only 2 in. So let me actually move that up just a little bit right there. I'm going to put one right there. So just line it up, hit it, poke the hole, go to the other side, line it up, poke the hole. There we go. And we take this piece right here, put it through, take the top piece, and it snaps on. Now the instruction says that that's all you have to do, but it doesn't seem to want to stay. So what I have to do is use a pair of pliers and kind of crimp it down just a little bit, like that. And after doing that, then it seems like it wants to stay. It's not a clean look, but I think given the nature of this mask, that unclean look kind of adds a little bit to it. So there we go, like that. All right, oops, put that in. Take this, crimp it down, and if I really wanted to kind of like bang it up, I can kind of hammer it just a little bit, like that. And there we go. So I'll just do the other side and put it all together, do a test fit, and after that clean it up, and it should be done. So yeah, let me go ahead and do that. We'll see what we got. I have this portion of the mask completed with all of the straps, and this portion right here, oops, this back portion here, it is completed. So it's time to assemble them together. So the way it's done is that we have the top. It's labeled top right here, but it's usually the bigger side. One side's a little bit smaller than the other. So we take that and you just feed this through. We're going to go from the back. You can see here, here's the back side. This is the side that's facing the head. We're going to go from the back in like so, and then through to loop it around like that, and that prevents it from coming loose. Now you can pull this to tighten it, but it won't go the other way. This tends to put enough tension onto this little loop here to prevent it. So once you get it onto your head, you can just tighten these straps just a little bit, just give them a nice little pull just to tighten it up to get it to where it's synced onto your head. And if you want to get it loose, then you just push this through like so, and then you should be able to get it out. But as I demonstrated those, that there's these velcro strips here on the back, so once you get it on, you should be able to, this should allow you to be able to get some flexibility to be able to remove it, and that will keep it snug. So let's go ahead and assemble it. So we go like that, and the customer can either decide that once he gets it set up, he can either cut this, or what I kind of recommend to do is to go ahead and feed it back through like that right there to kind of hide it. Like that right there. So then we go top to top. So once again, go from the back side, feed through the top, pull to get it to where you want it, and then when you get it to where you want it, go ahead and just feed that through, just to kind of hide that strap a little bit. And then we do the same things to the bottom. Just like that, like that. We can give that a nice pull just to kind of tighten it up. Then through there, and then we go to the other side. We go from there to there, tighten it, get to where we want, and then through, and voila. So there's the mask right there. All right, so there it is with the mask fully assembled. Now, to show how you can put it on and take it off, I got this little head here. Now this, once again, this is the head that I used as kind of a reference to make the old mask, and it's more of a, I think of a 3/4 size head, so it's not fully life size, but it still gives you the idea. Now, you can go through and undo the straps and put it on that way, strap at a time. But once you get the straps at least to the point to where you know they're going to fit comfortably, that Velcro in the back should allow you to be able to, or one, to be able to then, like so, and then just start to slip this on, just like that. There you go. And now the mask is on the head, and to take it off, you could just simply just take this and stretch it off, just like that. So let me go ahead and demonstrate that by putting that on my head. Now, don't worry, before I send this off to the customer, I will definitely sanitize this. I'll give it a good cleaning, disinfecting, and everything, so not to pass anything on to him. So we got it. It's kind of strapped in. I'll just take this, put this onto my head just like that, and then slip it on just like that. There you go. Now I'm ready to rock, or what have you. Like I said, it fits. It's very snugly for me, but I think that the customer actually has a slightly smaller head than me, so it should fit him perfectly. But if not, this is kind of proof that it does indeed fit. And then you want to take, so I can take these and I can strap them down, pull, give them a nice little tug just to kind of make it, a little bit tighter if I want, a tighter fit if I want, just like that. There you go. And then if I want to take it off, so the elastic in the back is going to give me just enough stretch. See here? So I can just pull this off and take it off just like that. So I think that works out very well. So let me go ahead and put that back on to. And so there it is. After, what is it, 4 episodes, I finally have this heavy metal mask completed, and it's almost ready to go back to the customer. There's just a few little things that I kind of noticed when I finished it that I want to go ahead and complete. I want to try to, kind of reinforce a couple of the stitching that I did to stitch this all together. And also I've watched a rewatched a video that gave me a little bit of tips and tricks and stuff on how to make this mask, and they recommended that I get some so kind of a clear based latex based paint, a clear latex based paint to put on it around the areas that I want it to look a little bit more wet, like these open scars here. And I might want to go over it with kind of a fixative to protect the paint so it doesn't go rubbing off very easily. And I'm even going to go through and in the insides, just right around the eyes, right around in here on the inside, put some foam, little strips of foam inside there, just to kind of separate these eyes, give them a little bit of space, because at least for me, these fit very closely to inside the sockets. And I'm afraid that that's going to also do the same to the customer, but I kind of experimented with this. So if I just glue a piece of foam just right along in here, I think that lifts it off of the head just enough to where it should be comfortable. So those few things I need to go ahead and do, but then after that, it is ready to be shipped off to the customer for him to go ahead and use it for the very purpose that he requested it. So with that being said, I want to say thank you for watching. My name is Daniel, aka B-Bell Dan. This is another latex mask that I have made. It's a half mask with straps to fix it onto the head, made to a customer's specifications. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I hope that y'all really kind of learned something from it. Let me know what y'all think. If y'all like it, leave a comment down below. But until the next project, which I do have one that I need to finish, it's right back there, so I need to get back to working on that. So be looking forward for more episodes to come out for the ventriloquist puppet. But until then, I want to say thank you for watching. I will see you next time.